Season 8, Episode 38, number 345, Decoded Podcast.
Summer School.
Summer School, the second episode of Summer School, and I don't think there's going to be many of them because you and I are both getting out of here and getting away from school. So
Depends.
anyway, yeah, it depends. But
Right.
Summer School's second session is in. We started pretty hard with the dad details, talking about yard work, whether it's grass, whether it's the garden or grass. Choose your G.
We're both G-men that way. You're the grass, I'm the garden. Yeah.
The G-men. I like that, G-men.
The OGs. The original gardener.
Original grass man.
The original grass man, yeah.
Now, if we were to combine forces, it would be epic. Like, I would love if we lived closer while you're dealing with your garden. I would totally jump in and work on your grass. And then,
you don't see two old dudes like you and I running like our own little side hustle landscaping company, right?
Sometimes I think when some of the neighbors say to me, "Man, your grass looks good," I'm looking at them. I'm like, for a small fee, I would be happy, and it would bring me joy to do the same to yours.
And the great thing is, you could just tell them, buy these products.
Yeah.
You buy the products. I'll bring my mower, whatever.
I'll bring my kids, and we'll just get to work.
I will charge you hourly. I'll charge you for labor, like the job per labor, but you just make sure you always have the certain things that I need there. And then that way, that would be manageable. That strikes me as manageable. If you don't have to keep inventory, and my garage is full of inventory. It is full of inventory, like the stuff that you buy for these little jobs along the way. And then you end up with you only use them every 2 or 3 years. So I think that'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome. I can imagine, as you're the person sort of commenting on it, you're looking at the person like a potential revenue stream. Morning, Gary.
Gary, good morning. Yes and no. I wouldn't want to do it full time, but sometimes, actually, my neighbor right next door, he is not interested in the lawn at all, which is fine, but then stay off mine. There's been some issues with him being friendly and cutting mine, but I'm like, bro, your lawn's brown, mine's green. Your lawn is this high, mine's like this. I don't understand why you think you cutting mine is doing me a favor, but hey, I don't believe there's any ill will. I think he's just out there, he's cutting, he's like, oh, I might as well just cut the neighbor's lawn. I'm like, don't do that. But if he were to say to me, how do you do that? I'd say, you know what? I'm already dealing with a third of it. I'll take care of the whole thing if you want, but this is what I need you to buy. And then I just get my boys out there, get to work.
Yeah.
Get the soil, the triple mix on, get the spreader. We'll deal with it. We'll take care of it. But you get all the stuff for it. That'd be fun. But he also has an anthill right in the middle of his lawn proper. And I need to zap that first. Anyway, so it's one of those things where, I'm not interested in running the neighborhood every Saturday and Sunday, but one or two people who are like, I see what you've done with your lawn, and I'd really like that to happen to mine. I'm like, okay, here's the list. Buy all that stuff. We'll get out there and we'll get it started if you want. But to do that all the time? No, here and there, though, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. And I feel like I have some street credit. Because I could be like, look, I went from desert-ish to lush green-ish. So I know how to make it happen. We can do it.
Did you have to topsoil up, to level it all out and stuff? Did you
I will tell you my story.
I've seen some of the videos. Are you a sand guy? Do you use that to kind of
No, I'm not a sand guy, but sometimes I think I should have some sand. Sometimes I think I should take the time to see exactly what my soil makeup is and then how to deal with it properly.
So tell me how you level. Tell me, how do you level it? So because a an unnaturally uh, valleyed lawn is like that's toxic for lawn mowing because you're gonna bald out the spots. You're gonna try like, how the hell do I get my lines here? If you go across the roll, it's like the mower like flattens out like how do you? So what have you done? I am
So
curious.
at this house, I've not had to do much because when
Okay,
we moved in, it was really bad, and we paid a landscape company to come in,
and
and
grade it for you, like.
they took care of, like, they were like, they ripped up everything that was here, and it's like everything that was here was dead, but they ripped it up, and they're the ones that came in and dropped more soil. They probably dropped some sand. They had little machines, like they didn't have big machines because I don't have a big property, but
Mhm.
they leveled everything out and then they resodded. So for me, it's not a major thing. I do in the backyard, I have some issues, but I've been fortunate enough to just use topsoil. Um, Topsoil to kind of to level things out, and
Mhm.
it's not bad. Like you've got a big lawn, so I could
I
see
gotta know. Yeah.
you got big property. So, and because you don't really care about it, you're not kind of on top of it. So yours would take work. Mine doesn't
Mhm.
really take that much, but it could go for a layer of sand just to have that part of the ecosystem. Anyway, I don't know. Like at my old house, I had clay. Like you, I had clay
Yeah.
underneath the topsoil, and that was a bugger. So over years, I just kept top
Topping it up.
dressing. Yeah,
Yeah.
every year I just get a whack load of triple mix topsoil, put it down, and to the point where when I was done working, anybody at my house would look outside. They're like, I don't see any grass. I just see dirt. I'm like, yeah, give it a week.
Exactly.
Give it a week, and that grass will come right through, and then that dirt becomes part of the
Mhm.
landscape. But you need to have that first before you can have the nice looking grass. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so I've gone from I've gone from not understanding how to take care of a lawn.
Mhm.
So at my first house, we had, they sodded and everything. I didn't know to fertilize. I didn't know to do anything. So
Mhm.
over a couple of years, next thing you know, you've got this lawn that's crazy with weeds, not that green. So I was like, I can tell you the moment my sister and her boyfriend were visiting, we were sitting in the backyard and he made a comment. And I was like, it was like he wasn't trying to be mean. He said something about he just said something about the state of the lawn. And I was man embarrassed. Like I was
Mm.
lawn guy embarrassed. I was like, oh my God. So when they left, I was like, okay, what do I do? How do I fix this? And then that's when I was like, oh, I should be fertilizing. I should be watering once a week for hours. I should be doing top dressing and seeding, every couple of seasons or whatever. All that to say, I had a nice lawn that went to hell. I was able over years, 2 or 3 years, to bring it back to a place of respectability, in my opinion. So then when we moved here to this house, we bought our house in the middle of winter. So as soon as the winter ended and ev- we bought it in the winter, but then when we came out to take a look in the spring, it was like these people here did not. The house was brand new, everything was perfect.
Mhm.
The lawn was garbage. So they had it sodded and then never dealt with it. So I was like, okay, well, my wife and I was like, well, definitely we're paying somebody to come and deal with this landscaping. And then once they rip everything apart, landscape it nice, then I can maintain. And that's where we're at. I'm maintaining. But what looks crazy to others, seeding in the spring, seeding in the fall, everybody's like, what are you doing, bro? You got grass. I'm like, I have grass because I keep starting up new grass, right? I grow new seed, stuff dies away, new stuff comes in. It's like it's a cycle.
Mhm.
Anyway, but I enjoy it, so that's good. You gotta like it, right? Because like the garden, I was out there dealing with the garden one weekend. I was cursing the whole time. I was like mad. I was ripping stuff out of the ground. So my son said to me yesterday, "Hey, did you deal? Because there it looks like there's a new tree growing in our garden." He's like, "What did you do to the tree?" Because it was out of control. I said,
Mhm.
"Well, one Saturday morning when you were friggin' sleeping away up here, you and your brother were sleeping, I was out there ripping branches off this tree and putting everything in those lawn garbage bags." He's like,
Mhm.
then he knew enough to not talk more about it because he could see I was starting to get riled up because I was like, I'm in that goddamn garden. I don't know what's in it. I'm wearing long sleeves because I don't know what kind of bugs are in there or whatever. That's the other thing too. I'm a lawn guy that's not interested in bugs. So I'm in this forest of a garden and I'm ripping. I don't even know what this stuff is, but it's got a scent. It's got like stuff on it that's like getting onto my shirt. So I'm like, nature's trying to grow more of this, and I
Mhm.
want nothing to do with it. So I'm just ripping it apart. All that to say, I don't like dealing with that stuff. I like dealing with the grass. I like trying to grow grass. I like trying to keep it as, I like the look of it. I like the curb appeal thing to all anyway. If
So
you and I
here's,
live close, I'd take care of your lawn, you'd take care of my garden. It'd all be
and you
good.
know what? And we would have people like it happened yesterday. It happened, bro. It happened, and this is dangerous. This is danger, right? I was sitting out front on one of my chairs. We've got those two yellow Muskoka chairs just out front of our house. I'm sitting there just having a breather. You know, the universe shouldn't do this. Someone walks by and they stop and they're like, "Hey, this looks nice." And right away you're like, "Thank you very much." All your labor, all your body pain is disappears. It's better than Advil, better than weed, better than anything because you're just sitting there, you're like getting a vibe off that. You're like, thank you. It does. And in that moment, you're like, okay, you go outside your body, right? I resisted walking down to the sidewalk with them and sort of stand there staring at, the curb appeal because that's the danger, right? There's where the G&G ego resides. Just mentioning a side note, we could always do the Dakota podcast, Decoded Podcast Landscaping Company, right?
That's our new arm. And you know
Yeah,
what? That's where our kids can work.
yeah. It's
That
the OGGs,
we
original gardener and grassman.
we roll up to somebody's house and like
Yeah.
all four of our kids get out and the person's like, "What is this?"
Oh,
Like,
we could do like triple G, the original garden and grass guys,
but
right?
the two of us are like, "We're
Yeah,
not
we're so
doing this work. This is the
yeah.
kids that are going to do this work."
That's
That's
right.
not
But I get it when you're talking about ripping the stuff out, but you're not in it for the bugs. But there is, in those moments where you're ripping stuff out and you're organizing and you're sort of like it is a little bit of like playing God moment. I get the whole pioneer mindset, people arriving in a spot and it's like they're sort of looking at all these trees and like, okay, we need to build a house. We have to build shelter here. We have to do something to the land so that we can exist here. Like this is tale as old as time, man. Just you and I are doing it with battery powered tools. That crisp line of the snow is not just, a satisfying geometric phenomena. We are rooting down into the history of men sort of coming in. And I'll say that men, sure, women, but this is us here, men coming in and sort of doing things, laboring with their hands and sort of making something happen, right? There is an elemental component to this that's deeply satisfying. Lifting and moving a rock is like basic labor, but there is something pretty satisfying to it that you've done something. You've visibly done something in the world. You planted grass and it grew. You put in hostas and they flourished. You edged, wherever your hydrangeas are going to go. And the more sun that they're getting, they're just like popping buds like no one's business, right? So it was funny. All this is running through my head. It's like, and I was just sitting there drinking my buble, you know, super macho, and I'm like, thank you very much, thank you. And they're
You
like, didn't you have a tree here? I'm like, I did. And wouldn't you know it, I was the norm on the corner of the bar giving the whole story, or the Cliff Clavin on the corner of the bar giving the whole story about yes, and then the crown of the tree started to die off, and then I had to get the assessor in. And I could see their look on their face. They're like, we just wanted to tell you like your lawn was okay, and they wanted to move on. But they were very kind. They entertained my moment of info dump.
you said something, a couple of things. Number one, Gary. Gary lives in a condo space.
Mm.
Gary, tell us, do you miss dealing with grass and garden? Tell us, Gary. Grass and garden. That could be
Do you
our new
keep
magazine. Decoded Grass and Garden.
That's right. Do you keep an OGG? It's the original Grass and Garden guys, subsidiary of Decoded Podcast. We got to keep it clear, right? For tax purposes, we got to keep that separate. But Gary, are you a balcony gardener? Are you a balcony gardener? Are you one of those people that has a couple flowers or something out there, a tomato plant?
So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is you made me laugh in the on ramp when you were talking about, I don't remember, you brought up tuberculosis. Somebody can't work on their lawn because they have tuberculosis or something. So that made me laugh. I looked up old diseases,
Yeah,
and I just now I think it's funny. Like somebody would be like, you say to somebody, "Hey, your lawn could use some work." They're like, "I'm sorry, I have cholera. I
yeah.
cannot work on my lawn." So
Leprosy.
I have
Well, I made it in reference to
typhoid fever.
typhoid, yeah. The Black Death, right? Actually, I think Black Death is tuberculosis, isn't it?
I don't know. Or how about
Anyway,
this one? I have Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I cannot work
nice,
on my lawn.
nice. All of these, I feel, are excuses not to go into work.
Um,
Um,
Gary says
uh,
townhouse condo, but Gary, do you miss? Have you ever dealt with grass or
well,
garden?
he might, if it's a townhouse condo, he might actually have a front lawn.
Right, but
Some of them do. Yeah, so yeah, there we go. He still works a small lawn and garden. Now, Gary, let me just so let me do the first thing here. So in the on ramp, he was talking about the videos that I'm addicted to, which are these. They tend to the reels that pop up on Facebook tend to be on Facebook. I'm sure you can find them everywhere there. About these landscaping companies that roll up to houses that just haven't seen care. So the grass is everywhere. There's a polar bear hiding in the brush. Like it's just all this kind of stuff that's overgrown, and someone will say, I want to bless you with a gift here. I have a landscaping company. It's actually really good marketing.
mhm.
It's really good marketing, right? Like it's smart, and the fact that you can do all that marketing for free, and you can algorithmically boost your own sales just by having being kind of like a presence that way. Social media star for doing good work. So yeah, and just talking about some of the reasons that I've heard. That's now what I actually crave equally to the cleanliness and geometry of seeing these people clean up the yards. I really love hearing the reasons why people haven't taken care of their lawns. And that's how the Black Death and tuberculosis came in. Gary, so I used to live in a townhouse condo complex, and we were fortunate because we had the end unit, which meant that for our backyards, our unit actually had because all the backyards were pocket backyards, and because all the condo townhouses. So in the development that I was in, there was about 9 condo townhouses that were all a part of the same kind of row connector. So one was connected to the other. We had a common roof. You had your own driveway, your own sort of like garage. The net effect of this, though, on the backside, the backyards, the only two that actually had gate access to their backyards were mine, and the one on the first end. So the first and the last. That was it. Um, and so, we got, well, when we sold, we got pretty heavy kickback on that. Like we got good cash because we had the thing. Um, but I know everyone else, they had to keep a little more in the back and another little more in the front. Now, the smarter people, I would say, decided which was going to be lawn and which was going to be garden. Now, really, in a little condo development, you're better. My assessment for curb appeal, you're better to have garden in the front. Now, you also are asking for a relationship that some buyers might not be down with. You have a beautiful garden in the front, they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to maintain that. Whereas
Mhm.
if you have grass, it's like you just have to mow it. But from an owner's perspective, way easier to not have to haul that. And there were people that actually carried their lawnmowers through their frickin' houses. And a few of them had push mowers, so it was no biggie. Hose it off like it's dry, whatever. It's not. But there was one dude that would carry. He had a small gas thing that he would lift from backyard to front yard. I'm like, oh my god, buddy, that's a commitment. So, anyways, Gary. So he still works. I like how he says that. I still work a small lawn and garden. He understands the labor.
Mhm.
I work it. I work
Yeah,
the garden. I
I
like
like.
that. That really like satisfies me, that term, because I know, like, this morning, even as I do this with my hands, like, oh my god, my joints, right? Like, I feel it. And yesterday Jake was helping out. Karen asked him when he came in, like, how you doing? He goes, I think I'm exhausted. But he was hustling. Yesterday was about putting that mulch down. And people that don't get it, but I've learned to get it, every year people are like, that's a lot of mulch. I'm like, you
Mhm.
have to put like several inches of mulch down if you're going to keep the weed growth down, right? So Jake's like, why do we have to put so much down? I'm like, young Padawan, you will just do the work that will teach you. You won't have to listen to my words. What you will see though is next year we don't have to put as much mulch down. So this is a lesson in chronology. This is a lesson in time. I can't force you to understand it. You don't have to listen to my words. But next year, when I get that big bag, you'll notice we'll put that big bag somewhere else. We can put a lot less in that spot. I said, plus the plants will flourish and they provide ground cover too. So you don't have to, some of the plants, you don't have to sort of put as much mulch around eventually. There we go. Look at me waxing on again. It's like I'm standing up front of my house, king of the hill. Yup, yup, talking with the neighbors, talking with the neighbors.
What I like, yeah, and like you shared a quick video yesterday of the work you and your son had done, and I was over here totally appreciating the time and the energy that went into that work. Because most people might look at it and be like, "Oh, that's nice." I'm like, "Oh God," like I said to you, my back felt the picture because
Mm-hmm.
uh, I remember waxing poetic to you about the 2 days me and my son spent outside, and I was after the first one, I was spent. I was like out there thinking, like my heart is pumping. I need to take a break here. What's wrong with me? And
I
it was
had that
with
happening too, though. I had that happening too. I will say, like, I meet like Jake a couple of times yesterday. Turned on, he's like, "You taking a break?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just gonna let my heart rate come down again. I'm gonna
yes.
catch my breath." Which, you know what? Okay, I'm a little out of shape, but like you mentioned, one of the first things, first sort of exercise instructionable that you gave me is that there's something really nice in the suffering.
Mm,
You talked about your knees and your back when you were running, like one of the first comments. You're like, but I kind of need that. I need a little bit of that pain, a little bit of that. It's the connective tissue, but it's the sensational kind of like connective tissue that I've just done something that was a challenge for my body, and I'm gonna crave it. I'm gonna crave not the work. I'm gonna crave the reaction to the work. I like that.
well, I knew a guy. He was a personal trainer, and he would say that that pain that you experience the day after or whatever, he's like, you want to embrace that because that
Hmm.
pain reminds you you're alive. It means
Yes.
your body's doing things that it doesn't do often, that maybe it should do a little bit more. Like this person explained the pain to me in a beautiful way as like this pain is privilege because it just
Yes.
reminds you and shows you what you may need to do to maybe get rid of some of it, and then you crave it because you know
Mhm.
what it means, right? um and that saying can go for a lot of things, like the pain and anxiety somebody might feel in a certain situation. When you take that and you twist it into, this is a friggin' privilege, because some people
Hmm.
do not, what the pain and anxiety you may be feeling over a situation at the present is what somebody wishes they had. They wish that they were in your situation.
Yes.
So you need to remember that. I talked to both of my kids about that, like when it came to sport. So Ben with the skiing, Will with the hockey, this anxiety or whatever, this pain you're feeling, this discomfort from the situation that you're about to be in, people wish that they had that. People are like at home thinking, I wish I knew how to ski. I wish I was in a position to get this out of that. I wish I was in a championship game. It's like, I get it. I'm not saying let go or ignore that the nervousness or whatever, but start to learn how to like funnel some of that and use it to your advantage rather than just let it take over and
Hmm.
bring you down.
Hmm.
Use it to bump you up a little bit. Even and they've my kids have both said to me that's BS or whatever. I'm like, no, I'll be at work and I'll be about to go into a difficult situation and I need to remind myself this is pretty friggin' awesome. I've learned a lot of the chaos stuff has come from my relationship with you because I know you sometimes my perspective of you is that you crave the chaos. You kind of welcome chaos and conflict because of the positive things it brings you. And so I've
You know
learned a
what it
little bit of
is? Yeah,
what is it?
I think it's, you and I, in our sort of philosophical pursuits, I think I've had equal measures of astonishment that a certain philosophy or a phrase or something, a philosopher, that it hits so hard. But some of those things that hit so hard that you and I have really enjoyed, I think that it's because we were already doing some of that work. I think we were already doing that work. So it's just the philosopher gave it a universal or a big picture way to kind of encapsulate it. So if I say to you, amor fati, and that in itself is embrace the chaos for me. That it's there, right? There's the connective tissue. It's just sort of cleverly put together by a Stoic philosopher that you love your fate, really, really love your fate, and look forward to some of that disassembling that comes with it. Um, Buddhists would say that you're constantly in this state of everything is entropy, everything is falling apart, everything is suffering. So embrace it. Don't resist it, kind of flow with it, learn something from it. All these kind of things that we naturally will put our defense mechanisms up against and say, I don't want this discomfort right now, which is a fine thing to say. So work to being less discomforted, but accept that as you do that, you're going to create more discomfort. And then we can flow over saying yes to one thing is no to another. Like we're doing this weird kind of like, I don't know where I begin and where the philosophy begins, like where I end, because we're in this kind of state of just kind of discovery. So yeah, doing all this yard work is for nothing in a really big picture. At some point, we're going to sell this house. At some point, we're not going to be here anymore. So there is this sort of like weird kind of mindset that the pain that we feel in order to get the things that we want is the exact process you want to be engaged with, to understand that shit doesn't come easy. It takes work. It does take work. I love it. It's a very clear analogy for me just about how to sort of live my life.
Can we shift a little bit?
Do it. Do it.
I want to shift to the book club for men for a
Mm-hmm,
second
mm-hmm.
because I want to talk a little bit since well Gary's here. So Gary and I and PG we hung out this week on Thursday. We went to a local Waterloo pub. I was in the mood. Two things happened in the last week, 2 weeks. I don't know why, I crave spending time in a pub environment. And I think it's the decor. I think it's maybe the camaraderie that comes with hanging out in a place like that with good friends. I'm not a big drinker of alcohol, so that's not an attractive component. But all that to say, um, I I jumped into the Foodapalooza chat that we have and said, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to this pub on this day. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it, which
Mhm.
I don't blame you. I mean, you live 2 hours away, but it's one of those things where it's just open. Whoever wants to come can come. I put it out to that group, and Gary showed up, and PG showed up, and I have to say it was nice to spend time with other guys, um, face to face. Okay, I craved I craved some face to face time because
Mhm.
I love I love that, we're digital, we've got spaces here. You and I do this. You and I talk daily in different one form or another. But to
All
have,
different streams, all different
yeah,
streams
all
too.
different streams, like we're not opposed to just sticking to
Nope.
one way of talking. We do all kinds of communication. But I was like, hey, I have the time. I want to hang out in a pub. I guess I could go by myself, but it'd be nice to hang out with a couple people. So BC for Men, maybe a new arm, is not a pub crawl, but like a pub experience. So Robert, he couldn't make it on Thursday because he already had plans. But it's funny because when I said to him, "Oh, sorry about that," he's like, "No problem. Get the craving again. Put it out a little bit earlier." And he goes, "Let's try different pubs in Waterloo region
Mhm.
and just make that a thing."
I like the idea of the pop up. It totally makes sense to me. It reminds me of in my neighborhood there was the green box. The green box was the kids like it was one of those, those hydro boxes,
Yes.
and it says, don't sit on it, and it don't do
High
anything to it.
voltage.
High
Yeah.
voltage. Don't even look at the green box. Hell, that green box was everything to us. At any point, if there was a kid out of the green box, that was the somebody send up the flare. It's time to play. Social media, that's one of the cool things that we can do with the social media is that we can send up the flare and just say, hey, who wants to come out? I'm heading to this spot. I think it is totally in alignment with the way that people can live their lives. It's like the just calling on someone to play. You want to come out? I'm going to be here. Come on over. And what it does is it gives people permission to think in this active state that you can just cold drop into the group. Who wants poutine? I'm heading here right now. It's the good version of, remember when Facebook, no, it wasn't Facebook. Maybe it was Facebook that did it initially. That whole check-in mentality. So you would check in when you actually arrived at a spot. But there was a company that did it. Hive? No. There was a company that was doing it, I think, before it got absorbed by social media. But it was this idea of you would be checking in at a location, and then it would actually say, depending on the location, do you remember this? Like someone was the mayor of it. They were kind of like the boss of that spot because they went there a lot of, like, it created this really sort of pseudo community. I just forget what that was, but it had to do with the number of times you would basically be at that spot. All social media has this sort of embedded in it. But the thing about it was always about, it was after the fact. It was after you arrived. It didn't have the like, I'm heading out. Who's going with me? Right. I like that. I love the thing that you decided to sort of include Foodapalooza as a pop up. Totally makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. What it reminded me is I need to get the York Region chapter on board with that. I need to sort of like start building that because you've done a better job of building the Waterloo,
I
the
think,
West Coast chapter.
and I
Yeah,
don't,
I got to work on the East Coast.
I don't think I just, it seems like the people in this area are just more, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't think I've really built anything up. I think it's just there's more of us who are active here and willing to get out and about. Like, it's a shame you live so far away because, um, even though I know you and I are very well, not just you and I, all of us are busy with our families and stuff, we can still get out for an hour or two to go have a beverage or a quick bite. That's the thing. Like, look, we're normalizing very simple. Let's just, hey, who wants to meet at this place to eat this thing? It's like, and it's not even a big deal.
Well, It is. I think it is because if we, I well, no, because here's where. Okay, so I'll have to stage this up. The fact that you decided to launch the BC for Men Insta account, it formalizes this in a way that we hadn't done yet. We hadn't really done yet. What is going to one it in one, and thank you for like including me in the permissions because I'm already starting to think about the discussions I'd like to have there. I think that's cool. Um, and it does make sense to have a better hub instead of just posting everything into WhatsApp all the time. Like I mean, it just it. I would have loved to have had this 7 years ago when we started Foodapalooza, and we could have gone through and seen in one spot the photos from there, the like the history of it, right? Like that's one of the cool archival things about having a social media account is that you can basically energy dump on it and go back and like, oh yeah, this is what we did. Remember, this is what we ate. Like, and that's just that. That's just for the Foodapalooza stuff, which tends to be the event that is connected with Book Club for Men. I'm sure we'll figure out other stuff as we go down the road because there's a lot of stuff that I think you and I have to offer, but that we can actualize in our crew as far as supporting positive, healthy male relationships. Like that's the thing that I think is why I stopped you in what you're saying, because that is what's going on here. It's normalizing both a um like perspective kind of idea of right front, like what can friendship look like between men when you're in your second half of life or even first half of life, it doesn't matter. What is it that men crave, which is both the light, yeah, I'm just going to show up and have a beer, and the yes, I really need to talk about this current diagnosis that I've just received. Like that's the spectrum of relationship that's happening with Book Club for Men. It really is. Um, so it's no small thing to sort of do the pop up and have people show up because that is a measure of even on the inside. If you're saying it's just a burger, boys, there is somebody there that is absolutely craving to get out of the house and doesn't know how to ask a buddy how to do it. So that's the space that it exists in, right? And I'll just end with saying that's what I need to do the work on here.
Okay.
I need to do that work here because I haven't started that yet. But this whole the maybe I'll put it into there. I'll say I'm gonna go. Well, I think part of it is that I just got to make sure that some of the peeps, like I don't know if Aldo has joined. I don't know if Jamie has joined that Insta group. So I got to get those guys in there so that they can sort of I can start building some of that stuff, right?
And that'd be awesome if that works and people are open to that. That'd be
Hmm.
awesome because, like I told you, I don't feel like I've done much work here with that. I think what you just said is awesome. Where one one man says to another, "Hey," or to a bunch of them, "I want to go get something to eat at this place. You want to meet up?" I think in my world, there's not a lot of that happening. Men saying to other men, "You want to hang out for an hour?" I think.
Because it's accidental. It's like sometimes those friendships, I think, are friendships by circumstance. You both happen to be at the rink because your kids are playing hockey together, or you run into someone at the metro and you just happen to start talking with them. Um, I like the intentionality of this. I just have to get beyond my own ego because I tend to sort of operate in this real kind of like lone wolf mentality. Um, to sort of start to include the possibility of spending my time in the same way
Mhm.
because I don't naturally operate that way. I tend to just kind of like I tend to sort of go, "This is what I'm going to do." I'll say to my family, "I'm going to go do it." They're like, "Okay," and I'd come back to like, "How was it?" Like it was cool. So part of the actual saying, "I'm going to go do this thing," and I'm okay if some other people just kind of show up and also want to just do this thing. It's like parallel play, not quite cooperative play, but the parallel play part is the beginning of friendships. If you sort of consistently do it, at some point you'll get used to parallel play, and then you'll like, hey, you like gardening, I like gardening, right? Like it can happen. It can happen. Sometimes it takes long, sometimes it takes shorts, but it can happen.
I think just like Foodapalooza doesn't have to be so Foodapalooza. is an event, and it's special because, um, but it doesn't have to be. We don't need to have a Foodapalooza for people to gather, right?
No.
And that's what I wanted to do with the pub thing.
Yep.
And it doesn't even have to be a pub, but nobody else is saying, "Hey, I want to go here. I'm craving this, so I'll do it. I'll do it. I got no problem doing that." Um, Foodapalooza comes with, we have certain rules, certain guidelines for it, which is what makes it special, what makes it fun. And I'm like, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for a Foodapalooza to get
Yep.
together with some of the guys and go get something to eat or drink. So let's go from Foodapalooza being the top tier guidelines and experiences of camaraderie and good food in a certain way to lowest common denominator. There are 3 pubs on that street. Let's go to one of them.
Hmm.
You can eat or you cannot eat. You can drink or not drink, which brings me to my next point. So Gary showed up, and then PG was like, "I don't think I can make it." And we're like, "No problem." So Gary and I actually had a meal. I was going there to have dinner. I was having dinner no matter who was with me.
Hmm.
We had dinner, and then our waitress was fantastic. She kept the drinks coming like you wouldn't believe. Like Gary, I think, swam home. PG probably had to stop 3 or 4 times on the way home to use a bathroom because this waitress, and we didn't, none of us had an alcoholic beverage. We were drinking iced tea and pop. And I took a picture on the Instagram of all the glasses because this lady just kept bringing them. And we were laughing because we're like, I think that her tip was more than the bill for the food because she was so good at taking care of three dudes, men in their second half of life, just chatting and having beverages. Oh, Gary says we needed to turn away a tray of drinks. We're like, no, we can't drink anymore. Like, you're going to drown us. Like, we can't physically take in any more liquid. She was that good. She was that attentive to her job. And we weren't treated like weirdos because we weren't drinking alcohol. We were just sitting in a corner. It was the best case scenario. And I said to Gary, this is why I picked this time. I don't want to be here when there's 10,000 people drinking beers like crazy. That wasn't my interest. So I got to hang out with people face to face. I had a meal. I got the pub experience of sitting in the pub, right? I wanted that experience. I got it. I'd like to do more of that here, right? And if nobody else picks up the torch, it's not a big deal. Hey guys, on this day at this time, I'm planning on going to this place.
Hmm.
It'd be it'd be awesome if I wasn't the only one there, but if I am the only one there, then I did what I wanted to do, right? Um, so that got me into that maybe didn't get me in there, but the Instagram mindset. So I was like, I've got my own Instagram, but I don't want to post certain things to my personal Instagram page, and my personal Instagram's locked down. So the world can't see what I'm putting out there. Only the people in
Hmm.
my circle can. So I'm like, I'm going to start a BC for Men Instagram. And I was like, and I'm sure Clough would be more than happy to be part of that. So, um, bro, I love the image we have for it. The armor plate
Perfect.
with the heart in the middle speaks.
Hmm.
That is what BC for Men is to me.
Dude, post up the image. You still have them. Post up a pic of the drawing.
So I got that from ChatGPT. I told it what
Yeah.
I wanted. And to me, it's like it is the strength and the vulnerability together. I love that.
Hmm.
And I love that that's what we are, that's what we can be, right? We can be
Hmm.
strong individuals, but we also have a heart. We should feel our emotions, right? We should model that for others. We should normalize things like a guy saying to other guys, "Let's go and hang out and talk." Right? Because
Hmm.
that's the thing. We Like I said, there was no alcohol involved. Not that if people wanted to drink alcohol, that's fine, but It wasn't, it was what you wanted it to be. If you wanted to come and drink 15 beers, great. If you wanted to come and have 4 iced teas and then laugh that the waitress keeps bringing iced teas, great. Like, I don't give a rat's ass about what you bring to the table. Just come to the table. You get what
Mm.
I'm saying? I'm
Yep,
so
I do.
sick and tired of what we're supposed to be as men. And the other thing too, I laughed when I call it, when we refer to it as BC for men. There are some people that have taken offense to that. Take offense. Let's have a conversation. What happens if someone's a man, doesn't identify as a man, but wants to be part of the group? Well, why don't you just come and talk to us then?
Hmm.
Like, I'm not changing the name, but let's have a conversation. You want to be
Hmm.
part of this group? Talk to us, right? It's like I'm open to all of that. I'm
Hmm.
open to using the word men, and I'm open to somebody saying, but I want to be part of this. Well, there is a reason in my mind, why it's for men. And we've talked about a couple of those right now. This business of how do we make sure we're living our lives and feeling good about who we are as individuals?
Yes,
And how's it connected to the
and
whole manhood?
that's not contingent on how somebody else interprets men, right? That's, I think that's what we're saying. Like, I don't need someone. I'm gonna define it according to what works for me. So again, if someone rolls in with a different mode of identifying as a man or men, then I'm going to allow that to happen. I'm going to flow with that going to happen. And if somewhere along the way I learned something about it, or I learned something for me, then cool. I mean, part of the fascinating space with this is that if, and I don't know, at this point, if someone who is trans or trans masculine, they said, you know what, I need this space. I need to sort of like figure out for myself who I am as a man or as a male or in my masculine mode. I'm like, okay, you bring your perspective in. That's the table that we're offering here. But that would be a fascinating next level to it, right?
Hmm.
And again, it doesn't change how I learn about myself and what I sort of like think about for other me learning about me doesn't preclude somebody else from presenting who they are. There it is. I like it.
Yeah, it was not difficult to make happen. I just was like, hey, this is what I see. This is what I see we are. We are strong individuals who are not just strong in one way or another, but
Hmm.
we have feelings, we have thoughts, we have a heart that is beneath that armor. And I think the group, like when I think of the group of the guys who have gotten together to talk about the things we've read, it's been fantastic. It's always, the doors open up, right? It's like
Hmm.
we'll step in the room and then everybody lightens up after a little bit and shares what they need to share. It's great. Anyway, so now we have a place on the internet, Instagram, where we can post all
Yep.
kinds of stuff. And the description I added, we talk about father stuff. There's humor involved. There's food. There's health, mental and physical. There can be spiritual. It's like
Hmm.
it's like what are the things that make us who we are, and how do we normalize some of the things that maybe people don't see as normal for men or males.
I tell people. So now I mean, I have for a few years now, a couple years, I talk about I will call it out as, yeah, I'm in a book club, and I've moved further to say, yeah, it's a book club for men. I, and people are kind of like, they have a little, when I've sort of mentioned that, like, Karen gets it, my family gets it. They get it. They get the sort of, oh, okay, you're going to Waterloo, or people are coming here. Like, they get that there's this group out there that now is something more than just a concept. It has structure to it. And as we have the Instagram, there's another layer of structure to it for the actual fellowship that we're building here, right? So I like it. But it's funny to sort of like call it that is a little bit cheeky but it comes very much out of like you like when you were looking at this, like the intentionality of having a book club, really guys in a book club. Like there is something there's some dissonance there.
Hmm.
One that is a specific target, but then okay, you've picked a specific target, and really, guys read books. Like there's so many, as you said, sort of layers to sort of introducing this book club idea. At first, um, it just became a really strong, cool way to interact during COVID. Like that's the starting point. Your starting point too, as far as not being a reader, finding a way that to have a community to sort of like want to read together. Me, like just not, I don't naturally socialize in the guys groups. So this was me as like my social challenge was how do I interact with guys? I tend to be either solo or I have more sort of female friends. Like I just don't, so there was so many layers to this as to why it sort of works. Um, but I dig that moment quite often. I almost crave it when I tell people I'm in a book club because I'm proud of the work that we've done with this, and I'm proud of the guys that have sort of come out to any of the, I guess we can call them events, but these gatherings, the people that have come out because it's always been really cool. And again, I bring it back to, man, I wish that we had this Instagram account earlier. There's I get it, like it's purposeful. This was the time, makes sense. We have the space in the summer to think this way. Like, what can we add in? But it is, I think back on like even the menus and the foods that we've seen, it would have been great to have that landing spot to say, this is what we've done in the past. Sitting around with our chairs with the pizza from A's Pizza, you and me talking with any of the many family groups that we've talked to, as we figured out the rules for our early Foodapalooza iterations. I always think back to that mother and daughter just sweating it out in that place where we got the
The doubles.
doubles, and just like her talking about keeping the business together because it still wasn't flourishing, right? And then her giving the tamarind candies at the end. I'm like, this is so awesome. Us getting the Nescafe, the coffees when it's out, like it's fall and we're sitting out there in the dark having we're having Jamaican food. And it's like people are like, here, do you guys want some coffee? Yes, we would love coffee. Thank you. Like so many little cool moments from this group and centered around food and conversation and fellowship. Um, I'm proud. I'm proud of what it is. And it's been like a slow burn kind of a group. Um, but really you folks coming here to see me in a play, there's cool bits that have all flowed out of it. And I do think that I will still say there is also a neutralizing effect that offering the opportunity to be in close friendship, fellowship with other men that aren't necessarily in your neighborhood. There is also, I think there's a real attraction to that you can sort of relax yourself a little bit. You have the opportunity to kind of like everybody will have this, like the social circles that anybody that is involved with, they're also constructs. And sometimes you can feel really bound up to that. And that can mean maybe you never get to talk about your fascination with figure skating or the fact that I was mind blown. I will tell you flat out, I was mind blown that one of the people that is in our group was so interested in theater. I was mind blown because this individual that's a part of our group, I wasn't reading that in them. I was not reading that in them. And even them starting to share their connections with theater, I was like, man, that's kind of cool. But I would have never known that. And I wondered to myself if they actually had a space or a moment previous to that to say that they really like theater just because of this way this person presents. Now, I could be completely misreading, but that I think that as an experience, as a moment, as a little bit of a glimmer as far as what Book Club for Men can offer, that is cool too, because like your picture, you can kind of drop the armor for a second and talk about or share something with somebody that, cool, man, love that you love it. Keep loving it. Keep finding because in the group this person presents quite like a jock, like kind of like a good old kind of jock kind of a guy. And again, I'm expanding on the stereotype. I will just say, ultimately, I love that my perception was changed. That's really what it's about here. You get to be whatever the hell you want, but my perception was changed. There's something more to this individual than just that sort of surface kind of a thing, and it played out in the group. So that's awesome.
Awesome. I know you have to go,
Hmm.
The last thing I'll say before we go is maybe next time, and I have no idea when we're meeting again, but we need to talk about that Gary's a phone guy. I know Gary's laughing right now as I say that. Gary is a closet phone guy, and I'll have to explain that
I
later.
like that. I want to drop one thing that I do like, and maybe this is for the educators that'll be kicking into this. I stopped comparing things to the classroom. And that's how I know I've gathered the right amount of distance or escape velocity from work. I'm thinking about things exactly as they are. I am not making a connection to like classroom education. Like I have to do work. I'm in this kind of like middle zone. Like in the past, I would have been doing the garden. This is how I mean, like lifting rocks was just about lifting rocks and digging dirt. I wasn't thinking to myself, oh, I should, this reminds me, I need to do this thing for school. I like that. Now, even talking about right now, this example, it does bring my work back in. But I love for the last week, I was no longer living my life like I was just an educator. I allowed my other personalities, my other interests to creep in. And that became really valuable to me. I appreciated that just as an experience that I wasn't sort of binding myself to that one identity that I'm just a teacher. I liked it. I was actually experiencing other parts of my personality that I liked it.
I like that too. I like that too. Um, let's look past some of the ways that we identify ourselves and see
Hmm.
what else is flourishing in our lives. Anyway,
Exactly.
Gary LOL'd at the phone guy
He
thing. We'll
lulled
talk
us.
more about that. He lolled, which is awesome. Okay, well,
I didn't see I'll just say I didn't see any of the pictures about the food. Where did you post those? Did you put it in the BC for Men or on your own account?
no, it's in the BC for Men. It's the first post ever, other than the armor. It's I posted 3 images or 4 images of our. You have to see it because we got deep fried pickles because you're the one pickle spears. I said to Gary, we have to get pickles spears because Chris said we're at a pub, we got to get them. So I took a picture of that
Dude,
for sure.
I don't see the pictures.
What?
I see the BC for Men, the first the armor, and then the next one is a photo of McCabe's.
Yeah, that's it. So flip through. There's more than one picture there.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go. Now I see it. Okay, the inner window. There we go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. They shouldn't put on romaine. They just like they can just let them stand alone. Nice. What's the sandwich?
It
Oh,
was it was a
club.
club.
There we go. Now I got it. Okay, okay. There we go. That is a lot of glasses. I like
There was
that.
more than that, bro. She took some away. It was insane. The glasses were insane. She just kept coming.
I have a deep appreciation of the fact that you did the fried pickle appetizer, and then you had salad with your sandwich. Kudos, good for you.
I call that balance. Sometimes I'm not balanced, but that day I was. Gary says, "Thanks for the invite. You're welcome. Thanks for being part of the group.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't if you want to be anybody, any man's welcome. Just don't be a complete asshole, and you're welcome." That's
Yep.
all I have to say.
And but maybe that's the next. And we haven't dipped into this, but maybe that's part of the accountability that could emerge. Fine, you're welcome to arrive exactly as you are. If you're deemed to be an asshole, the fellowship is going to correct you. And if you choose to stay, you'll grow. Because I think that's so I'm dipping a little bit into this Jason Wilson book. And his whole kind of mindset is that, we've been trained to be a certain way. We've been trained to be a way. We've become men less through choice, more through kind of inculcation. Like we've been trained to this is what it means to be a man. I think it is absolutely, absolutely critical that we have people in our world that when you fall to your operating system, which is not a good version of you, that someone will kind of, I think about it from dogs too. I watch a lot of dog videos. When dogs correct each other, it really is fascinating that sort of the alpha is not just by designation, it's by confidence, it's by learning, it's by experience. And if you choose to step up to the alpha, it's not just I guess technically in the animal world, it is about mating. It really is. It's about procreation, sometimes resource management. But sometimes when you watch it, you realize that that correction doesn't always result with outing and being sent from the group. It has to be it has to be framed as also acceptance. And I had that one. I wish I could figure out how to put that reel that I have on my personal account into the BC for Men when I posted up a poem and a buddy of mine commented on it and said about patience. And I commented back in a reel. I said, I think it's more about acceptance. Patience will only get you so far. Patience is just a waiting game. But I think acceptance is an active state. Patience, I don't think, is an active state. It's a passive state. So if you can accept that you actually are an asshole and you stay around for some mentorship and coaching from people that would actually be interested in helping you become a better person, I think that's the gold. I think that would be the gold. Now, if you are coming to be a wrecker and you want to stay an asshole, well, you don't get to stay an asshole or stay in and be an asshole. You got to change. Yeah, you got to change. So,
And maybe part of that change is being with people and seeing that it's okay to be what you are, who you are. We may discover that that person labels themselves as an asshole, and we're just like, maybe they're not really an asshole. Maybe
yeah,
it's layered, right? It's layered.
that's why I say the wrecker. That's why I say
The
the
record,
wrecker
yeah.
frame. Like you're coming in looking to do harm, looking to wreck, looking to disassemble, right? And try to make people less than what they are. I can definitely, if someone comes in and they're a freaking idiot or they say things that I disagree with, I equally want someone to have the freedom to say something that someone might disagree with as the individuals that will disagree, and we can entertain different thought and still work towards fellowship because we have to work in the world with people. We have to. We just have to. Ultimately, if people, I think at the tipping point is if they can't learn or they're not learning, they're not growing, and they're still doing. And there's people like that. There's people that that have kind of been softly weeded out. They're just there for the social chitty chat. They're not contributing. And I think that's kind of the tipping point. At some point, you're going to be asked to contribute. It might not be as direct as, become an admin of the group or whatever, but it might be like your accountability. That question comes up. If you're just going to be passively always just taking from the group and not investing, I think that can be the wrecker mindset, right? You're just here you're a tourist. Don't be a tourist, right?
Mm.
Participate. But those are bridges to cross at some point. So no bigs. But yeah, I'm not thinking of school. Nothing's things aren't being measured by school, which is awesome. Your dill pickle picture. So were they good? Were the
They were
pickles good?
good. Yes, they
Yeah.
were, and the dip was good too.
What
There
was
was
the
a,
dip?
it was
Like a
I want to say it was some type of ranch, but it wasn't
yeah.
like your stereotypical ranch.
It has a little yellowness to it, which
Yes.
makes me wonder if they made it like
If they put mustard
chipotle
in it
or
or
chili,
something?
or could be mustard. Yeah, it could be just that they put some paprika, something just to color it. But
It was
that's it's
good.
a, it's a tricky app to do well. It is. It's a tricky app to do well.
That's now I think that we need to get every time I go to a pub, that needs to be part of what I get and
Well,
let you know what they think.
I go through these phases. At one point, and I'm starting to realize it has to do more with fried foods. So the three. Here's the trinity for me that tests the gold standard: calamari, onion rings, and fried dill pickles. Those are my three right now that test that sort of initial. Can these folks do a good fried appetizer? Those are my three.
Good to know.
Yeah.
The club was more flavorful than expected. It was
That's
actually better than what I thought it would be.
and that's exactly what we want people to say about BC for Men.
I love it. Okay, on that note, well, we don't know when we're going to be back on, so we'll see you when we see you.
We will. We know we will. We're just not sure when.
We will. We just not in the next little bit, I don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah, for
Anyway,
sure.
this was season 8, episode 38, number 345 of the Decoded Podcast, Summer School episode 2. Mhm. Anyway,
Hmm.
that's it. Everybody enjoy your day and the rest of your time doing whatever. Peace. Thanks, Gary, for
Peace.
hanging.